Instagram's been getting a lot of attention lately, but it's not the only photo app out there for your mobile. We'll look at a few of the others today on Lab Rats.
This episode of Lab Rats is brought to you by Netflix. Hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And this is a show where we demystify technology, all the mobile stuff and all the computer stuff. And today, apps.
Apps, specifically photo apps.
Yeah, and why?
Why? Well, Instagram.
It's exciting!
Instagram got a lot of attention and a lot of money.
I want to write a photo app and sell it for $1 billion.
It won't take much from the looks of this.
So Instagram, if you haven't heard about it, is this app, and it's a social media app where you take a picture and then it shares it with all your friends, and that's kind of all it does. It puts a pretty filter on it, I guess, but Facebook bought it for $1 billion.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. So we thought we'd have a look at Instagram briefly, but show you some of the other cool photo apps that are not even getting the same attention right now. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. You're a photographer, you love to shoot stuff. I like to shoot pictures of my cats, and I put them all over Facebook in case you haven't noticed.
I've noticed.
That's my photographic, whimsy. But you take pictures of like flowers and stuff, and like arty stuff.
Birds and llamas and, well, alpacas.
Alpacas.
We'll talk about that later. Anyways.
All right, well, so today's episode, we're going to show you a bunch of cool apps, Sean's picks, my picks, and that sort of thing, so you have the latest photo apps for your iPhone as well. But first, a message from our sponsor. This episode of Lab Rats is brought to you by Netflix. Netflix streams TV shows and movies directly to your home, saving you time, money, and hassle.
As a Netflix Unlimited member, you can instantly watch TV episodes and movies streaming directly to your PC, Mac, or right to your TV with your Xbox 360, PS3, or Nintendo Wii console. Watch as many movies as you want, anytime you want, and cancel anytime.
For a limited time, get a free 30-day trial membership. Go to www.netflix.com/labrats and sign up now.
And be sure to use that URL so they know we sent you. So photos. Let's get to the photos.
Yeah, okay, so iPhone really has been a revolution for most, photographers, and really for anybody who's like into taking photos or wants to take photos of their friends and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of reinvented photography in many ways, and people are abandoning the traditional point and click and just sticking with their phones.
Yeah, there was camera phones out like a number of years ago, but it was pretty clunky. The photos were really ugly. They were ugly and crappy, to put it bluntly. And I think with a lot of the smartphones out there, people are using them for a lot of other things. And the fact that the photographs that these things start taking these days are really getting good.
They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the crispness in the iPhone 4S is unbelievably fantastic.
Yeah, and the 4 was already reasonably good on the back. It was a 5 megapixel, and they bumped that up, I think, to 8 with the 4S. So really good. A lot of other phones that are out there these days, some of the Androids are even up to 12 megapixels. It's just crazy.
It is, right. So if you're thinking an app, you're probably going to hear about this Instagram thing. So talk about that very briefly before we move on, because there's so many other things that are better than that. But why did Instagram capture the imagination of people?
Well, one of the things that Instagram does at a basic level is it takes a picture and then puts filters on it, makes it look very old-timey. So if you don't want to go back to the 70s in order to take a picture, you can take a picture now and put a filter on it to make it look like it's from the 70s. Sure.
That was its kind of big thing, was just putting a cool filter on it.
Pretty much. So give it some sort of effect, make it more artistic, make it look old, whatever.
Right.
But the really key thing about Instagram, as opposed to a lot of other things that do that, is it was a very social platform. So you would take the picture and then you would share it onto their network, and then all other people could see. So you could follow other people that take photographs and see what they're doing, and just see a whole pile of interesting sort of looking photographs out there taken with these artsy filters thrown on top of them.
So social media meets photography app.
Right.
That was really the secret sauce there.
That was the secret sauce. Yeah. And what happened over the last little bit is Instagram released onto Android. It was late to the party there, but they released onto Android, and they had something like 5 million downloads in a week. It was like crazy time downloading for that. And then almost immediately at the end of that week, Facebook said, okay, let's buy this.
Yeah.
And I think that was a strategic play to make sure that someone like Google didn't snap it up and integrate it into Google+. Right. It's a social network. They don't want anything taking away from their ability to do social.
Okay, so now it's Instagram's being sucked into the evil world of Facebook. Do I have alternatives? I have alternatives, right?
Yeah. So I think part of the problem with this is that when you do Instagram, it's sort of forcing you to share that. And a lot of people already don't trust Google with their privacy. and they don't want all of their photographs to sort of show up in ads elsewhere. So a lot of people are looking into alternatives, and there are a few out there. So there's something like Hipstamatic. It's very much similar. You put the filters on the picture you take. So it's just looks like a box camera, and you can see what's in here. So there's my hand. Not very interesting from this shot, but you take a picture like that, and then you can apply filters to it. So that's one of the things that there's other ones out there like a vintage cam, and then there's one that Mike likes called Lens Plus. Mike is our producer. He likes Lens Plus because it does a lot of the similar sort of thing, but apparently you can put the filters on ahead of time. I haven't played with it, but that sounds fun. A lot of these, you take the picture, then put the filters on. This one allows you to look at it through the filters before you take it, so you know what you're going to take. So,
that's kind of cool.
So yeah, you have all of these other ones, and they don't force you to share online with another network. You can just take them and save them on your camera, and then you can share them if you like. Most of these apps give you the ability to push them up to Twitter or to Facebook or whatever if you want.
They're all, it's an optional thing, whereas Instagram seems to force you into that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, well, one of my favorite ones, and again, it's sort of in the same line as Instagram, something called Pix, P-I-X. So Pix is the same sort of idea. I don't know if do you want me to show it off here, or we do a screen grab of it?
Yeah, we'll do both.
So Pix, again, there's a picture of Mike waving in the background on the Lab Rat set, and what I can do basically is apply different filters here to make him look, sexier than he really is. And,
impossible.
Look at that. It's like, oh, look at that. This looks like it's old photos from the 1950s filter.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. One of the fun things about this, though, is you can actually create your own filters. So if you hit the star there, you can actually adjust all the different various settings for the photograph and actually save that as its own filter. So it's kind of you're building your own pre-formatted filter, like your own custom filter.
Very good. You're not locked into the small batch that they chose for you off the top. So
yeah,
that's good.
And then it can actually have a randomizer too, so you can actually randomize the filter and see it. And that'll just kind of randomize the filter, so you can just kind of play around and that sort of thing. Has all the typical things, to share and that sort of thing, email and Twitter and that sort of thing. So that's Pix, P-I-X.
Great.
And you?
So let's move away from these taking photographs and making them look old, because there's such a world of photography that's out there.
It's been done.
That's been done. There's a bunch of them. So one of the things is when you're out at night with friends, say you're on a patio somewhere, but it's starting to get dark, or you're just out somewhere and it's a little bit darker than you'd like. You start to take a picture with this and you realize, okay, I've got two options now. I either fire the flash and I sit there looking like that, or it looks smeary because the light is too low and it gets very blurry, and my hands shake in the dark. So what I've got here is something.
Drink more beer. It'll calm you down.
Yeah, well then it'll get even more smeary. So what I've got here is something called night camera, which is great for night, but you can use another. If you've just got jittery hands, it helps as well. So you take
something called jittery hands cam as well.
Yeah. So you take a picture, you press the button, and it waits until your hands get really stable, and then it takes the picture. And I'll show you again here.
So not good for shooting pictures of cats.
Yeah. So again, you can see there's a bar when you're doing this at the bottom that shows you how much you're moving, and the more green it is, the more you're moving, and then you hold it steady, and then it finally takes it when you stop moving. So it'll actually minimize the blur just because you're, which the regular camera app doesn't do.
So not good for action shots, not good for cats, and not good for children.
Right. Anytime you just want to hold steady and make sure it doesn't blur, it's pretty good for that, though.
Right. I got it.
Right.
Awesome.
What else do you got?
I got this thing called PhotoSynth. This is actually, interestingly enough, is a Microsoft product.
Microsoft on the iPhone.
Yeah, amazingly enough. It's basically takes a panorama of a situation. So let me just show you. So first there's an interface there, as you can see this here. It's basically just framing what it's about to take a picture of, and you can see there's a frame on both sides as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the panorama of the studio, so I'm going to go click, and I'm going to move around. It'll take another picture there, and then this. Okay. And let's go over here to David. David's standing by our prompter board there, and then you there. Okay, so now I can go finish, and it's going to stitch the panorama together, and you actually going to get, now you could do this at 360 if you want, and up and down as well. So basically you get a kind of cool panorama of the Lab Rat studio, and it stitches it. You have to get everybody to stand still, including Sean. There you go. Kind of fun, kind of cool Microsoft product.
There you go. I remember them talking about synth back in the day, going into public spaces and doing 3D panoramas of all the areas. And I think their goal, at the time, was to get a 3D panorama of the entire world. So it's kind of interesting.
Interesting product. Anyway, that's
I think you took one earlier, and we'll see if we can put that up somewhere for people to see of the entire space here.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, good. So what do you got next?
So one of the problems that people had with this beforehand was actually organizing their photos on the phone. So you've got them siloed into these individual apps, but sometimes that puts it into your phone library, the photo app in your library. But you didn't have the ability to separate it into events or do organization like you did before on the Macintosh using something like iPhoto. Now with iPhoto on here, and this kind of works better on the iPad because you have more screen real estate, but you can actually put this on the iPhone as well and start doing those bits of organization, seeing what's in each of these individual events. So you can see this is a particular event that I was, or this is the photos, but then you can click on events and see by days what they are, and you can start tagging things here as well.
Very cool. Okay,
So
good. And that's Apple's iPhoto.
That's Apple's iPhoto.
All right, well, here's my favorite photo app of all time. For a bunch of various reasons. But this is called Camera Genius. And I'm going to show you this here. If I click on, obviously you have a big screen there with a big button to take the picture. If you click on menu here, you get some interesting options. You get an anti-shake functionality. You get a timer functionality. When you want to take a picture with some friends and put your iPhone up, and so you do a countdown. That's kind of cool, like that, right? You can see that. And you also have something called Pulse. I think it's Pulse, or where it takes 3 shots of it in a cluster.
Yes.
Bang, 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 bang.
Bang, bang, bang.
Right? So in case you are taking pictures of kids or pets or whatever and you want to capture that moment, you can take it in sort of burst. I think it's called burst mode.
Yeah, burst mode, yeah. So that's what you would have on an SLR, is just hold the thing and bang, 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 bang. Yeah.
Right. And here's my favorite one. This is for people that has big fat thumbs. This is called Big Button. And Big Button essentially turns the whole screen into your click button. So if you go click anywhere, it takes a picture, right? As opposed to having to touch the tiny little, target right there and that sort of thing. So that's Camera Genius. There's lots of other features on there, but I really like that one a lot.
There you go. Well, I've got one other thing to show.
Okay, real quick, because we're almost out of time.
Yeah, and this right here is not a bit of software, but this is a bit of
a gadget?
hardware. Yeah, it's a gadget. It does a lot of manipulation on your photos, and this is something called Holoclip. And so what you do is you actually put this over the edge. So I'm going to throw this over the edge of my phone here so you can see. Now we've got a bit of a fisheye look here on this.
Cool.
So we've got fisheye on one side.
Yeah.
We've got, flip it over the other direction. And you've got wide angle. So it's,
right.
Yeah, so just leave your hand there for a second.
Yeah.
And I'll pull this off and you'll see the difference.
Oh, right, wow.
So, and then, you can't see it very easily here, but you can unscrew this.
This is my favorite feature here, right here. This is really cool.
Unscrew this part, and you actually have macro lens here. So you put this on, and then you can get up really close. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you can see it there. Just bring it up even closer.
Look at that.
Yeah, so you actually can get in way, way closer than you can with the traditional focus on there. So that's $69.99. A bit of hardware. It'll cost you more than any of these apps will, but you can just throw it in your pocket, carry it with you everywhere, and really be ready to take a picture that you just can't do in post in software.
That's cheaper than Instagram. Facebook should have bought that instead.
That's a good point.
All right, if you want to see a very cool topic on the show, or want us to cover some specific thing that you don't understand about technology or demystify something, you can email us at
Oh, I wish I had $1 billion at labrats.tv.
And if you want to not type all that out and type something more simple, you can use...
No, seriously, Facebook, give me $1 billion right now at labrats.tv.
And if that's too much as well, you could type
feedback at labrats.tv.
That would probably be your option. Yeah, then you leave you more time to make $1 billion in your spare time.
I just want Facebook to give me 2. I'm going for 2 now.
2. All right, well, that's it for us this week. Thanks for tuning in, pushing play. It'd be silly for us to be here taking pictures if you guys weren't out there going, I want to take pictures with my iPhone. I don't know how to do that. See us at labrats.tv. See us at youtube.com/labratsland. See us at facebook.com/labratsland. Lots of places to consume things, Sean and Andy. My name's Andy Walker, speaking of which.
I'm Sean Carruthers, speaking of which.
We'll see you next time.
Are you ready?